Beautiful people. Welcome to the Stoa. Hope everyone's doing well today. Feel free to turn on the camera, let there be light in the Stoa. And today's session is ZEGG-Forum, becoming relatable for the world of tomorrow. And we have Ina and Achim joining us. And both Ina and Achim have been part of the ZEGG community for over 30 years. And they were founding members. And the ZEGG-Forum is a process that promotes awareness, essential communication, and trust. And you can say it's a ritualized form of transparent communication for larger groups. And there's a lot of synchronicities happening with people talking to me about the ZEGG-Forum. Like it's all at once, people just talking to me about this thing, ZEGG-Forum. I haven't heard about it. This was about a month ago. And it sounded really cool and related to a lot of the investigations of other intersubjective modalities we've been doing here at the Stoa, like collective presencing or circling or insight dialogue. So I'm super happy that Ina and Achim have been joining us today. And how it's going to work, I'm going to take them in a moment. They're going to share their thoughts, present on what the ZEGG-Forum is, and then we'll have some activities and exercises, I imagine. We might do some breakout rooms. Yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen, so I'm just going to dig into Ina and Achim and welcome to the Stoa. And you're on mute, so you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yay.
There we go.
Yeah, it's exciting being with you.
Hello.
And thanks a lot, Peter, for this idea and for the invitation. And this is really an experiment, how we can somehow convey the idea of ZEGG-Forum to you in an online forum. But we are confident. Yay. And maybe at first we can all take a moment to arrive here more fully, to be present. We sit here in a flat in Germany, close to Berlin, in the countryside, with a beautiful spring arriving. Nightingales are singing outside. And maybe you also take a moment to connect with the environment where you are right now. City, wherever you are. Because maybe one core idea of the ZEGG-Forum is that we take a moment to step a little bit out of our daily life and remember that we are cosmic beings as a human being. And that we are all connected. The forum is happening, as Peter said it so beautifully already. It's a kind of ritualized communication form where we sit in a circle. And somehow this circle of people could be representative for the whole humanity. And let's remember that we are all part of humanity. And that is also another core idea of forum, no? That whatever happens in the forum is in a way representative for everybody. So now I go a bit more into practical things.
Maybe we share a bit where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Because initially, like Dieter Doom, German professor, he founded in 78, he founded with a few friends this community which we call the Bauhütte in southern Germany, which later became, maybe you have heard heard of Tamera, it's a place in Portugal, and ZEGG in Germany. And the idea of the forum was to make the processes we all go through personal, individually, visible and understandable for all of us sharing the community. So this would build trust, knowing where each one of us is, what we are worried about, what we love, what we feel attracted to, all these things wanted to be spoken. So we don't have to talk to 50 people in the community individually, but we can share it in a space and discover, oh, it's not that different, what worries us for us, what attracts us, what we are grateful for, all these things, that they can be transparent for everybody. And that makes us connect deeper. And if you can see in a community of 50 people, 50 different people, you can imagine that this is the basis for most everyone in humankind. We are one big human family, and we share the same things on different levels. We have different perspectives on them, but the basic needs and wishes and longings are pretty much the same. And so the forum was a tool, it's too mechanical, but it was something how we could share and feel the other person also on all different levels, not just intellectually share, but also feel how they feel, get a sense of how they work, how they function, where they come from, what motivates them, all these things. That was the basis why we invented it, or why Dieter Doom then invented it and brought it to us. And ever since, it has been transformed with everything we learned on the path of living in intentional community and working with people. We constantly transformed it a bit. Or in the recent years, the trauma, the whole knowledge and notion about trauma came into it. And so, of course, we are aware of that also. So everything, these things come into it. It's not a one-time process and it stays the same forever, but it adapts with the new findings that are around.
Yeah, I mean, forum is really dependent that we also know that there is a worldview behind it, no? So that it is one idea to create deeper trust, as Achim said, no? When we let people know what is happening inside of me, that we don't discuss just the factual things, but that also my feelings, my inner processes become more visible. That is the basic idea of forum. So the practical things is that usually a group of people sits in the circle, and the circle is holding the space. That's probably not so unusual for you, you know this. And then the forum is always a facilitated process. And we see facilitation as a kind of midwifery, so that the facilitators support a person in the middle to give birth to something, to share something from inside. And the most important aspect, of course, in forum is that there is a presenter, a person from the circle who is willing to share something, what is moving him or her. And maybe you can also imagine that it takes some courage to leave the security of the circle, where we are all maybe sitting on the floor or sitting on chairs. So you step up and really stand for yourself. You take yourself serious for the issues you want to share. And then you start to share what is moving you, what was important for you. And the facilitators, maybe they ask questions to bring in more focus or more presence, or sometimes they just listen. And then the fourth bit of forum, what I think is really the goal of forum, is that when you are done, when you have shared whatever you wanted to share, you go back to your seat and sit down again, and then people from the circle are invited to offer feedback, to offer, we call it a mirror. How can I reflect what I have witnessed, so that I can learn how was my impact, or what did they resonate with what I shared? And so I think Achim and I, we learned incredibly, you learned a lot about what we received as feedback in the forum as a mirror. And also the mirrors are facilitated, because it's not the idea to give charged mirrors, but it is more the idea to give a mirror as a gift from my heart. How do I perceive you? Yeah. And what is also important is forum works best for groups who have a common goal, like in an intentional community or a project group. And it also needs continuity. So usually you don't do just one forum, but you really have a kind of process that you meet maybe every 2 weeks or every week. Or in the beginning, when we lived in community, we did it every evening, yeah, from hours and hours. We sat together and shared all our inner processes and got feedback. We don't do that at ZEGG now, but it is good to have some kind of continuity.
And also definitely part in the earlier time was to not take oneself so serious, to just identify a bit from my feelings, my urges, my whatever, and make art of it, like over express it and kind of become an actor of my own feelings and life. So to create some gap between me and how I perceive the world, to understand, well, they are not the same. I am much more than my emotions, for example. I am more than my what I like and I don't like. So it can grow and change. That was also important. So we learned that we are more, we humans are more than what is on the surface. There's a much deeper layer. There's a layer I identify with. I'm Achim and I have certain things I like and I don't like. That's kind of the cultural layer, but beneath that is a more humane layer of where I can relate to many people. Because it's not so important what I just like at the moment. It's interesting, but it's not the most important thing. That's what that's one.
We are just pausing and reflecting whether it's already the time to step into a little exercise. Maybe it's also good to hear from you if you have questions, because we don't know if you have already forum background, if you have experienced a forum somewhere.
If anybody wants to ask a question or share, you can just pop off mute. We'll keep it informal today. And maybe if anyone has forum experience background, if they want to share, like Kim, if you want to share your experience, that would be cool to hear.
My experience with Forum is in New Culture, Network for New Culture, and particularly summer camps. You probably know this for many years. And what to say? So my experience is it's outside, but it's in a dome that we've created. And so people are sitting around in a circle, and there's a deep respect for the space, a very like an honoring, sacredness maybe, but an honoring of the space. And as an individual steps into the center, there's a curiosity and sort of a leaning into it, but it's clear to me that what is happening here, it's like being on the human stage. This is humanity unfolding before us. And for me, that just, like I said, deep respect and sort of love for whatever it is. And then with really poignant and incisive facilitation, something blossoms, often, not always. It doesn't come to a conclusion necessarily, but like I feel engaged in whatever this person's experience is, to the depths that I am it. I am their experience. And then when we offer mirrors, as you were saying, this, it's a gift back to that person. Here's what I was seeing that was not necessarily spoken, but here's what I was seeing, and it could just be a gesture. It's not necessarily in words. And so in the end of, a Forum cycle, when a number of people have spoken, there's this community, the beauty of the community, but the openness to hold like damn near anything. It's all here. And we've had some really difficult really hard ones, and come through it. And that we as humans can do that. We can do this. We can be in this world with all of this chaos together, and we can do this together. So that's a bit of my experience.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. It was very descriptive. It's a bit like peeling layers away to go deeper and find the humaneness more and more, the different identifications and what I think and whatever. So it's going deeper to a core, and this resonates with all the people around. So in this space of resonance, also the person in the middle, in the center, they can also experience themselves on a deeper level, because it gives them energy, as a high energy to discover myself deeper. That's also very important.
And as you already a little bit wrote in the chat, it is really the case. You get the attention of the whole circle. And sometimes this is really like a woo, like a wave of energy, just to be in the center and to be seen. And one of our core thoughts is also that we say being seen is also being loved. I mean, when I show myself, when I reveal, also my insecurity, maybe my vulnerability, but also my joy, my bliss, my love,
My power.
yeah. So and then being seen by a bunch of people, it is amazing. Yeah. So I said it takes some courage, but also it is really amazing to feel this presence of a circle. And also what we say, just to say one thought, we also say that forum is not, it's not the idea to solve problems, yeah, to discuss it in a way until we are all agreeing to a solution or so, but it is more to bring things on the table and to make them public, to make them visible, palpable. And so that we know, yeah, okay, that's here under the carpet, or that's what is moving me inside. And then in a way, life will move us further. Like Leonard Cohen said, there is a crack in everything. That's where the light comes in. So maybe Forum wants to support that there is a crack in our patterns and in our belief systems or in our thoughts. That's how it is. No, there we can maybe create a crack where the light comes in, where a broader perspective can be taken.
And also, I was always very interested and or worried about what is happening in the world. And this, what we see outside, this is the culture we as humanity have created so far. You can say the modern Western culture that's spreading all over the planet now is what we have created. So what is the source? Why did it go this way? It has lots of advantages, but it has also a lot of disadvantages and is on the verge of destroying our life on Earth, definitely. It could be. So why do we do this? What things in my inner self are giving birth to this world? And when I discover this in the forum, I can use it to discover this and ask this political question maybe. How could I transform this point, the assemblage point, you could say, of this world into an assemblage point of a new culture, of a different culture, of a more sharing culture, where we are not in competition, but where we complement each other and give strength to life. So this is also could be or is one idea of the forum, to discover humaneness deeper without pushing people away, but also giving mirrors and saying, well, when you do this, it does this in me. And so we have to find an accord, an agreement how we deal with this. So you need the feedback that this is hurting me, so you could maybe change it, or maybe I have to change something, but we can find out together.
If I may jump in on that, with the parameters that I've learned, is that there's, it might be an individual thing. It might be my thing that I bring into the middle, but it also might be about a relationship, as you say, like a relationship even in the community that we're in, or it might be something about the community, or it might be something global, like something bigger than us specifically here. And to me, this is where the richness and the potential in this moment that Forum offers, because I feel like we're moving from that self-focused era, which has been amazing and healing and important and right, and it will continue, into more of a let's see things from bigger and bigger perspectives, and that interaction, and how does this, what my sense is, affect the whole, or how does the whole affect me? So you can bring in issues that are beyond us to deal with, and somehow there's a healing there on a larger level. So I like that as a tool for us moving forward right now in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Very powerful. And now I forgot my
Yeah, one thing that came to my mind was that one difficulty with forum is that it's not, I wouldn't call it a method. I call it a process. So it's always different and it's also always new. I mean, in the beginning, I just mentioned the basics, that it's a facilitated process and that we have certain, I would say, rules of respect, how we, if we don't attack each other, or that we really listen to each other, or that the circle is holding space and also not interfering, only the facilitator. So there are a few, let's say, guidelines. And the core idea really is, for me, can we really see us as human beings and not as objects? And I think although that is right now so deeply happening in our society, that everything is somehow objectified, and we don't really get the feeling, wow, there is a real human being alive and sensing and enjoying, inspiring. So Forum wants to connect us, also what I said in the beginning, that we are cosmic beings. I would even call, wow, we have this inner spirit. And Forum wants to invite our inner light to shine and to be seen, and that we can also relate to this. And I don't know if that makes sense when I talk to you. So it would also, in a way, good to hear, are you, and can you somehow follow us as we talk, or do you have questions so that we can be more also in connection with what is your interest or your curiosity?
I have a question.
Yes.
A curiosity in particular.
Mhm.
Yes.
What has the forum done for you in affordances to the capacity of trust, the feelingness of being in safety, and perhaps the growingness of your voice to express? And it's in the context of there can be a feeling of safety and security if one were to express all of themselves and be seen in a one-on-one scenario. But then the whole dynamic changes if you're in a forum with perhaps people that you're not too familiar with. And then I would like to presume that your nervous system may have some senses of uncertainty and insecurity with how you are being seen by those that you're not too familiar with, along with how you, the controlling side of you may wonder how you wish to be seen on iteration throughout, like how I want to be seen by you all. But now there's an invitation to open up more and more.
Mm.
I'm curious about what your experiences have been for perhaps the capacities that I am alluding to.
Beautiful question. It's very, of course, everybody, I would say, experienced these processes once going in the circle. And of course, it feels insecure in the beginning. And the first thing I can learn is, oh, it's not dangerous. They don't want to, they're not looking for points to put me down. They're trying to feel me, to get an understanding, like Kim said. And slowly I can experience this and experience, oh, it's a space where I can discover myself more. And my experience, for example, was it was very important for me to get the feedback, who others perceive me, how others perceive me, because I had a self-image of myself, how I thought of myself, how I thought I came across to other people, which was quite far away to how they really perceived me. So, for example, I thought very bad of myself in many places. I didn't honor my qualities because I didn't see them. For me, my qualities are very normal, and I wonder that others don't have them because they are, I mean, this came with me into life. So I didn't have to acquire them. So these qualities others can value, and I didn't, so I learned to value them in myself. And other things where I maybe thought I'm very special, I discovered, oh, I'm not so special. Like many worries and pains about the world and my relationship and stuff like that, I could discover, oh, it's not that special. Others have the same things, so I don't have to hide them anymore. So I discovered my humaneness. And this means I don't have so much to hide anymore, because the others know things because of their own experience and because they can see much more of me than I thought before. And this is not bad that they see so much from me. I can relax into it. So it formed my C.G. Jung, the psychologist, Jungian psychology, he said, the gap between my own perception of myself and how others perceive me, that's the psychological shadow. So I can start closing this gap. I probably never close it completely, but I can make it much smaller, and that feels really good. It feels more real. I feel more at home in the world and with people. And for that also, the feedback is very essential. So that's my thing, my take. Maybe you say something different.
I mean, I am also still nervous when I share something what is really relevant to me. Now, because I think we are all raised with the question, nobody will ever understand me fully. And I can share, wow, I had amazing experiences. And especially, usually when I want to say something, I do a kind of performance already in my brain. I think I step into the middle, and then I think I will say this and so on. So we try to prepare. And the best in forum for me was often when I let go of my concept, and then I stood there and said, ooh, now I really feel insecure because I don't know what to say. And then to take this moment and to see what is coming from somewhere else, and that I can express this. And this was often for me also, it felt like really, wow, something new was born. But I don't want to hide it. I also in forum, I had experiences where I afterwards thought, wow, they didn't get it. Yeah, it is not always this bliss and amazing, wow, I got amazing feedback. It can also happen that I wasn't able to express myself fully, and that I forgot maybe the most important aspect. And so that can happen. But that is also why I say it is important to create some kind of continuity. For example, in the summer camps of the New Culture, of the network of New Culture, it is maybe every second day that they go and meet in forum, or even every day. And so you know what's happened yesterday, and then you can build on that. And maybe you can go into the middle again and say, wow, yesterday I really said bullshit. And you make maybe a very brief sharing, this is what was really on my heart. And so you can also
Build on it.
build on it, exactly. And so for me, it is really sometimes difficult when you do forum only once, and then people have high expectations. And so it is, of course, you are free to do whatever you want to do. But for me, the beauty is when it's a group that knows each other better and better and better, and that also the feedback and the listening process is really building a container.
Can I also ask something?
Please.
Yes.
So I was looking at I was in Tamera once in a few years ago, and somehow I never had the chance to experience Forum there. And I'm also looking at the website, and I'm looking for like, where could I learn and experience Forum online, if there are any online sessions, or it's just in person? Because these past days I was with the group here. We were envisioning a new intentional community we wanna create, and for now it's just a small group. We're 4, and I think so. My question is, 1, if there are spaces where I could learn that are online, and 2, if you have any recommendations for people that are starting, that want to implement Forum in their communities, even if it's a small community, because I know there are trained facilitators that I can contact, but I wonder if we could do it also, if we could adapt to a smaller setting, because I see the need for this practice, and also the challenges of implementing, because it's not it requires some kind of learning. There's a learning curve. So yeah, I wonder what you can share with me. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question. And I know that maybe you're referring to that. There are facilitators in the US who can be asked for training. And especially I would suggest Sarah Taub and Debbie Sugarman. I looked it up before, and I saw they have a Facebook page on that. So
Yeah, I'm actually in Portugal. Sorry.
in Portugal.
Yeah.
In Portugal. It's a bit difficult. Corona kind of killed our international output, because for more than 2 years it wasn't possible to travel and it wasn't possible to come. So I know ZEGG is now starting to build it up again. For example, for the summer camp at ZEGG, they are trying to have an international group, but it's not clear that it will happen. In Spain, there's also Forum, people who are doing Forum. There's networks for the ZEGG-Forum, you can find out. We trained people in Spain, and it's growing, as my information. And maybe that would work for you. If I know Portuguese and Spanish can understand when they speak slow. And unfortunately, we don't do international courses right now, but we are always there if somebody has the idea to invite us and to have a group, to invite a group. And of course, it's not really feasible to bring us over for 4 people. But if you can maybe advertise a bit and find people who are also interested and have a group for a weekend. For some people, we can do things. So that would be an idea if you're willing to step into that position. We love to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a not so easy to answer question, because so far I don't think it can be done online. Maybe that's why I'm old-fashioned, I don't know, but so far my experience, it's really an in-person experience. But I'm also pretty sure that around Tamera there are smaller communities and projects, and maybe you can also get in contact with them and that they could also offer some support.
Thank you. I'll do some research. Thanks.
Mm.
And maybe you write us an email and we can at least know your email address and your interest, and we can maybe whenever something turns up, we can inform you. Yeah.
Julian, you had your hand up.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah. I was just sort of skimming the guidelines in your handout on your website. And I guess what I was curious about is if you have any specific experience or kind of something unique to your approach that has guided you, if there's like an injury or a rupture that's alive for people within the circle, because I know sometimes that can just increase the difficulty in processing. If one person's experience isn't more of a broad or global challenge, but if it's like contained within the group, if there's strategies or methods that help to hold that and to like bring about a resolution and maintain, a compassion and a cooperation, a mutual understanding through that kind of process.
We can see if we got the question fully. And, that is also why I said it is so much depending on the group and on the trust in the group. And it can also sometimes be that we cannot address certain issues in the forum circle because the trust is not deep enough to hold this issue, especially when it's about injuries or when it's about trauma. We can go as far as the group trust is holding space.
That's why we spend, usually with a new group, we spend a lot of time with little exercises and many things, how people get closer and build trust. That's the basis on which forum can happen.
And that is also, we say, wow, forum is also not the place when you are really charged and when you really think, wow, I need to scream or to smash things. Then you really use other methods to express maybe first your fire anger or whatever your identification, because it is really the journey how to express myself or to make myself visible, but not hurting other people, or not just putting my shit on the floor, but also the forum is kind of challenging forum because you really also want in the same moment take responsibility for what you are expressing. And so sometimes we say maybe you go counseling before we all meet in the forum so that everybody is in a way already a bit more connected with him or herself. And also sometimes we have to say, dear friends, here we need to stop. We can't go further in forum here. We need to pause. So that's maybe how I can come closer to the question you asked, because it is in a way a theoretical thing, but that's what came to my mind to answer it.
And a forum is a process that needs skilled facilitators, definitely. So, and it needs facilitators who know where their competencies end. So they can, it's nothing wrong to say, up to here I can hold the space, and from there not anymore. I can't go there. Or the space here doesn't hold it, or whatever. And because there's lots of hurt people, and maybe they need special spaces, and a big group sometimes is not the right container for a trauma session, or for exposing my wounds. Sometimes it's very good to have so many witnesses when I have already worked on it, and I can bring it out without going back into the trauma. Then it can be a very healing experience to have witnesses who are on my side, who are with me. So that's also, facilitators have a big responsibility, at least to show their limits.
Yeah, thanks. I guess what I'm hearing is that there's a honoring and like humility to recognize that the mutual trust within the group and the sort of skill and wisdom of the facilitators creates a container, but it does have a limited capacity to hold intensity and charge, and that can be built through sort of progressive sessions. But you have to respect and honor that, like, as a group, everybody can only hold what they can hold, I guess, if that sounds right. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
And for that, I think a real space where we sit together in one room, feeling each other, is different. It's better for these things. On the internet, it has limitations. It is amazing how it works, but it still has limits. I would like to invite you now for a little exercise. Maybe, yeah, Ina says maybe get up for a moment and stretch and move a bit in front of your
Maybe
screen.
you can even take your laptop or your phone and take it with you. I don't know if that's possible with all your cables, but now we are doing exactly what we are doing in forum. We get up and we change our posture to feel how is it when we stand. We can also get up, but when
we won't be seen anymore. No, we stay.
Only our bellies.
So,
because also one idea is that in forum you walk around a little bit, so that also your body is in a kind of flow. We think differently, and also we feel differently when we move. And so please allow your body whatever it wants to do some stretchings or some deeper breathings. Yeah.
and then maybe look around in the space in which you are, and think of your day you had so far. I mean, for most of you, it's around lunchtime. For some of you, it's dinner time. So you spend the day and look, what am I grateful for in this day? So what spoke to my heart, what touched me? And maybe also you can include the past week, or in the end your whole life. What am I really grateful for? For meetings, for people, for things I was allowed to experience, for gifts I received. Maybe even for painful experiences because they let me grow. Even that. What are you grateful for? And I don't know if you know Joanna Macy. She's a deep ecology teacher. She's a Buddhist. And she says, gratefulness is even political subversive, because we constantly are bombarded with what we are lacking. We are not beautiful enough, not smart enough, not this or that enough. And all these things we can buy a book, we can buy a workshop, we can buy new clothes or a big car, or whatever. So it's constantly addressing the lack that we feel, the scarcity that we feel. And the gratefulness is political subversive because it shows us what we already have, how much we already have. And I think in every position in life, I can still find something I'm grateful for. So think about what you're grateful for, and we do breakout groups. Maybe we're
And we
smaller.
have a small group now.
Yeah.
So maybe now you come back to your computer or to your place,
And maybe you can share either verbally for all of us or on the chat what you're grateful for. And this is also creating values of us as a group for now.
and our idea is that we now would like to listen. If you want to share a bit of your gratitude, you just switch on your mic and share it.
I'm very grateful for your presentation. A lot of what you said really resonate with me. I learned to look at myself as a house of being with many different perception of various capacity. And I see your method as calling out the higher and higher part of my being, and have that call out and an opportunity to express it. I find it very rewarding. I wonder what is your foundation of philosophy? What supports your method?
We'll come back to that question after we've heard more from other people, but thanks a lot for your sharing. Beautiful. Yeah, Joanne.
Hello, I'm grateful because before joining this webinar, I didn't know much about what it would be about. I haven't heard of the ZEGG community, but finding out that it's about forum, and I have connections to the STAR community, which was mentioned in the chat. So it feels like a synchronicity to me. And I'm grateful for both the realization that I wish this was the kind of community world that I had grown up in and that I belong to, but also in a way grateful for the sadness, knowing that I'm not, and the impact that that has had on me and my life, and wondering how things could have been different if I'd grown up in this kind of community and experienced forum. So I'm sort of grateful for the sadness and the awareness of a different way of being.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. for sharing this. And let's hear one or two more. It's beautiful to read your chat, the things in the chat. I would be curious, Peter, about what are you grateful for?
It's on the chat.
Yeah, I was grateful for a bunch of things. I was doing a rampage of gratitude, but grateful for the state I'm experiencing right now. It's like a peacefulness, which I'm feeling in the Zoom room right now. I'm picking up on it.
Thanks.
I can say something about myself. We are in the process of starting a new project, a new community actually. And we are 5 of us so far. It's Ina, me, 2 other friends that we know for a long time, and one other. And I'm great. We just had an afternoon where we shared where we came from or where we want to go. We also had some practical things that we needed to organize. And the kind of communication and trust among us, for me, is very touching, that we can speak like that we can speak about deep, difficult issues, seemingly difficult issues in an easy way. And yeah, we are trying to build a very deep community where we then also want to invite people to be part of that, and that this process is starting up now, like spring, hopefully. And yeah, I'm very positive about this.
So we're at the top of the hour. Is there any parting words or concluding exercises you'd like to guide us through, or shall we gently close here?
I'm a bit still sitting on Kwan's question, and so I try to summarize this briefly. Definitely, forum is depending on a worldview, which we also try to express that it is about connection. I see you in me, and you see probably yourself in me. So that we can experience, well, there was in the beginning this word of interdependence. And so we need, I think it's good to feel this longing. I know I'm not just an individual. We are still, as human beings, part of a human family. And Forum also wants to bring more awareness to myself, to the group, to broaden the presence. And so there also needs a willingness of a group to grow together. And this is a deep decision, because sometimes it's not so much fun to grow together, because you also need to face challenging issues that got stuck probably. And so at least I want to mention this in the end, that Forum is a way to grow together, but also sometimes you have to face difficult periods. And therefore you need a worldview also that, you know, well, yeah, let's grow together. We won't manage to do it individually.
And if we can go a little bit more longer, I would say interdependence not only among people, but we are interdependent of the whole of the biosphere. And this is a very easy thing. I mean, about 80 billion, I think, bacteria live on, microorganisms live on our skin, in our intestines, and they make us survive. That's our immune system is also living from that. So, and when we breathe, we take in air, we take in the components which are in the air and which have not been us before. So I take in foreign material, and it becomes part of my body, and I give off something which has been me before. So, and also when I eat and drink and excrete, all this is a process. It's a circle of exchange of matter. So in the end, I can say the world flows through me, and what has been me later becomes part of the world again. So there's a direct connection between me and everything around me. There's nothing which doesn't in some way, in some time, touch my body, become part of my body, and maybe go off again into the world. So within, I don't know the exact number anymore, but within a couple of years or some couple of years, all the cells in my body are new. The matter, which is my body, when I say this is me, 10 years ago, this wasn't me. It's a new me. It's similar because I rebuilt it in a similar way. That's why I look the same. I'm recognizable. And also somehow my thoughts are similar, but it's a new body. And the bone cells, as I think 30 years, also the bone cells change. So who am I, if not something which is not so material? There must be something beyond the matter of my body. And this connects me with everything. So that's why we know every poison we release into the environment, sooner or later will be in my body also. So when we understand this, then also I understand that this person is not so different from me, and even she feels similar. Her inner world is also very similar to what my inner world is. Her deepest longings are similar to my inner longings, but she found different ways and different strategies to manifest them, to try to manifest them. So we can cooperate on that. And if we get that, who is the other? Who is the enemy? Who is the opponent? You know, it's trying to build a new world, a new culture on a deeper level. And what we shared now in this little exercise, we shared values. I'm grateful for this. So this for me is a value. If you share this gratefulness, that is a common value then between us. So we create values of the community by sharing, by expressing what's touching our heart. Very simple things, but it creates a container of who we are as a community right now. Yeah.
Well said. A very beautiful way to end.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very grateful that you invited us and found us.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah, likewise, I'm grateful that the birdies at the Stoa put the ZEGG-Forum and you two on my radar. Yeah, we'd love to have you come back, and I imagine there'd be more kind of cross-pollination of activities.
Yeah.
So I'll put the website on the video notes, so people who are watching on the YouTube right now could check what you two are doing at the ZEGG-Forum. And I'll make some closing announcements in a moment, but Achim, Ina, thank you so much for coming to the Stoa today. It was a lovely session.
It was a pleasure, really.
And tomorrow we have Franny Norland visiting us same time in a session on awakening the feminine and honoring the masculine. And that's going to be an interesting one. Check out more sessions at the stoa.ca. So Achim, Nina, everyone, thank you so much for coming to the Stoa today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye then.